Warner Brothers and Paramount came out with their own earnings calls this week and roundly trounced the House of Mouse, defeating Disney, and yet investors do not seem to care, not one iota. Today, we'll tell you why Wall Street is high on the Walt Disney Company after a nightmare quarter, and it all comes down to somebody else building what Disney can't. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and happy Friday. It is a joy to have you joining us, and we are overjoyed to have Mexican Iron Man hopping in to tell us what's going on with the stock market. Although, folks, we must say before we get started, no financial advice shall be given. Mike, how are you today?
Very well, sort of, kind of, with related to my financial portfolio, but happy to be here and happy to talk about these entertainment company earnings results.
Absolutely. And Mike, could you tell the folks out there what line of work you're in, just so maybe there's somebody who's brand new thinking about subscribing to the channel, and they might want to know, why should I listen to this man? What is he telling me that's different than others?
Well, despite having a great education, I have a great education. I got a great business besides going to Stanford, Oxford, and running a tax and accounting firm for business owners all over the country. That should make me a smarty pants. But the other reason you should listen to me is that no one knows better how to lose money on entertainment industry stocks than me. So I'm an expert in knowing why I've invested in companies and why my returns have not yielded the profits that I would otherwise expect. Thank you.
All right, well, let's dive in, Mike. And folks, as we do, click the like button. We're over on thatparkplace.com to start off with. It says, Warner Brothers surpasses Disney Plus in streaming growth as Trump tariffs loom over Hollywood. This is by Marvin Montanaro. And the story here, folks, is that despite Warner Brothers and Paramount seemingly having better quarters than Disney, investors don't care. Warner Brothers Discovery trounced expectations in the first quarter, gaining more streaming subscribers than Disney, despite the Mouse House's optimistic earnings and surprise theme park announcement. In other words, the streaming war just took an unexpected turn, and it's not in Disney's favor. Now, folks, this is a VIP article. We recommend you to go over to That Park Place and click on the Become a VIP button and get started. But Mike, both Paramount and Warner Brothers defeated Disney in terms of streaming, which we all thought was, well, that's what it mattered to investors. But it turns out at the last minute, Bob Iger pulled an ace out of his sleeve, and it's something that we didn't see coming. And we'll explain why in just a minute. But out of CNN, it says, for the first time in 15 years, the Walt Disney Company has announced the development of a new theme park, a resort destination in Abu Dhabi that marks the company's entry into the Middle East. The Disneyland Abu Dhabi Resort, which some are humorously calling Disney Sand, will become Disney's 7th global resort destination, the company announced Wednesday shortly after reporting strong second quarter earnings. Now, Mike, CNN is trying to cover this accurately, I bet, which is different for CNN, and other outlets are covering it this exact same way. The reality is Disney doesn't own this resort. Disney's not building this resort. Disney has nothing to do with this resort other than they are going to send out their IP to this Middle Eastern company, to Yas Island, and they get a lot of money back. Disney gets a lot of money back. They don't have to participate in this in any way other than licensing and receiving royalties for it. It's literally not their park whatsoever. Different than China, where they have a percentage ownership. Different than Paris, where they have some ownership. Seemingly different than Japan, where they have a partnership. They may not have ownership, but they have a partnership there ongoing. This is a different situation. Iger presented this as if it is a brand new Disneyland. And if I show you the difference here, Mike, these companies, this is Paramount. Paramount is up 4.8% over the past month. And if we go to, let's go to Warner Brothers now. If we go to Warner Brothers, they're down 2.7%. These two companies outperformed Disney in just about every way possible in terms of entertainment over the last quarter. Disney had a nightmare quarter. Yet Bob Iger, Mike, and you tell me if I'm wrong about this, Bob Iger has pulled up a 15% increase over the past month, and basically because they came out and announced another company's development and pretended it's their own. I'm not here to dismiss it. I'm here to say it was a PR masterclass that saved the day for Bob Iger, with a nightmare quarter where they're outperformed by smaller companies, and yet investors are on board 1,000%. Investors are buying into this. Why do you think that is, Mike?
Well, and yet another shocking, not so shocking turn, as you mentioned. Another rabbit has been pulled out of the hat. I think it speaks to two things. well, three things. One is that Wall Street does not know how to assess this company properly, because this is a company that's destroyed its IPs. It's a company that's allowing its U.S. parks to pretty much get run into the ground or become outdated. I mean, the last time I went to Disneyland, I felt that I was visiting a strip mall. It lacked freshness. It lacked the magic. It lacked basic upkeep. Frankly, it felt tired and old, like going through an old strip mall. So we've got a company that isn't taking care of its U.S. assets, in my view. We've got a company that's destroyed its IPs, and we've got a company that is pricing itself out of being family friendly. And Wall Street apparently doesn't know, doesn't care to ask, or doesn't care to hold this company accountable. And Bob Iger personally is one hell of a cheeseball. He knows how to schmooze. He is a cheeseball executive officer. That's my new term from him. I'm debuting it here on this video.
He's Bob, a CBEO, cheeseball executive officer.
Yes, he is the CBEO of the largest entertainment of media company on planet Earth. He is the cheeseball executive officer, and what this cheeseball is able to do is every quarter come up with a new little shiny little trinket, like, oh my God, we have the best stapler ever. Look at this. It is just amazing.
I love that stapler. It's a nice stapler.
He does it over and over again. And it baffles me when I heard the Warner call. I'm like, they don't even have the same number of subs as Disney. They don't even spend much money as Disney spends and loses on streaming. They don't have nearly the same losses, and you're telling me that they are lapping these. I mean, pretty much. I mean, if you look at the numbers, they're effectively lapping the viewership results of all of these Disney Plus shows. And don't even get me started on Paramount. I heard that earnings call too. I mean, Paramount is, and I thought about it myself. Of all the streaming services, I think I myself personally watch Paramount stuff the most. And I don't even think I realized it until this week, like, because I'm watching different shows, and it's not like when I think of streaming service, I think of Hulu, I think of Disney Plus, I think of Max, definitely Amazon, of course, and Netflix, of course. But when I thought about what I actually watch, I think I tend to watch the vast majority of TV shows on Paramount. Now, a lot of them are oh my God, what's his name? Tyler
Perry?
No, not Tyler Perry. I'm blanking on his name. The Western shows. I'm just.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't think of his name right now.
Because it's 9 a.m, 6 a.m. California time, and I'm just blanking.
All right,
anyway,
Paramount
is outstanding, and so I think what's happened is that he just has an uncanny ability to snow Wall Street. And when this Abu Dhabi announcement came out, which is what we started talking about, I am going to circle back to it. But when this announcement hit, and I was listening to the call live, I instantly knew that Wall Street was going to love this for two reasons. One is that
walk us through it, Mike.
This company has been on a track that the other Bob started, Chapek, where Disney has decided it doesn't want to be family friendly. It wants to target people with the most money, and it wants to extract the most amount of money out of those people. Now, sometimes they get this wrong, like with the Star Cruiser Hotel, right? With the Star Wars Hotel that failed. They spent $1 billion and failed at that. Yeah. That was an overreach, but it was still part of the same strategy that we want high-end families with disposable cash, and we want to get as much out of them in the shortest amount of time. And in that case, they thought they could get $5,000 out of everybody every 2 days for a hotel stay. They went too far. This Abu Dhabi announcement is very similar to that hotel announcement, because they're going to plant the Disney brand flag, and yeah, maybe they're not going to build it, maybe they're not going to quote own it, but it's still a Disney property. They're planting a flag at a place where they're going to try where you and I, Pro, I'm just a country accountant from South Carolina, and I'm not going to jump in my pickup, and I'm not going to drive to no Abu Dhabi for some Disney experience. So this is not for the average working men and women of America. This is for people that can afford to get on a plane, spend a lot of money, and this is right in line with Disney's strategy. So I think Wall Street loves it because it's part of the high rev strategy, number one. And number two is it's another shiny little stapler that they can wrap their arms around, saying, Bob, where did you cut? And I can just imagine them like off the call talking to him. Bob, I've got to tell you that announcement yesterday, Bob, that was just so amazing. I don't know where you came up with. Bob, you're such a visionary, Bob. You're such a global entertainment leader. And Bob's sitting there. Well, we're a great storytelling company. We just want to share our flywheel in another part of the world.
Yeah, stop sharing your flywheel, Bob. It's not appropriate. We don't want to see your flywheel. By the way, folks say, Pro, why didn't you see this coming? You called this a nightmare quarter, yet Disney stock shot up. Why could you not?
From streaming and the box office perspective, wasn't it a nightmare quarter?
Well, it was.
You would think from a streaming standpoint, you look at their numbers, they're not charting. That's kind of if I were spending billions of dollars on a streaming service and no one's watching my crap, that's a nightmare. If I'm putting out movies like Snow White, or I'm spending hundreds of millions of dollars and I'm not only not breaking even, but I'm losing money, I would call that a nightmare. But for Wall Street, it'll be okay.
It was just a Wednesday for Wall Street. Hey, Mike, here's why I think we were unable to get a hold of this and leak it out before they did, is because this is another company, and I want people to pay attention to, this is the way that NPR, which many call the national propaganda radio, but this is how they're reporting it. Disney's newest theme park will be in Abu Dhabi. Now, if you read that headline by Nida Ulabi, you'll think, oh, Disney's building a new theme park. Oh, Disney's going to own a new theme park. And the answer to that is no. This is another company's theme park. Disney has nothing to do with this theme park other than licensing out their name and their IP to it. It's like Looney Tunes at Six Flags. Warner Brothers and Looney Tunes don't own Six Flags. This is what Disney is doing. It's different than anything they've done before. And we don't have contacts inside Abu Dhabi. I mean, we have some in Dubai, but we don't have contacts that are inside this company that runs Yas Island called Miral. This is their theme park. I don't have any coverage there. Disney held this very close to the vest and then put this out there. And credit goes to Bob Iger and Miral for making this happen. They saved the day because Disney gets to say, and it gets to be covered this way, that it's Disney's park. But it's not. It's not at all. And so that's what they've done here that is just amazing. And Wall Street is buying it up for two reasons, I think. One is a lot of investors are reading the headlines and nothing more. And it looks like, oh my gosh, they're adding to their most important sector of the company, which is the parks and experiences. And that makes people happy. But the second thing is the more savvy investors, the big institutions, they realize that Disney is doing this without spending a dime. This is another company's project. Disney's not spending anything on construction. Disney's not going to participate in this in any way beyond consultation services and licensing out the IP. So Disney's going to get a giant lump sum of money, we believe, and then some sort of royalty agreement, and they don't have to do anything. They don't have to operate it. And Wall Street, I believe, loves that because there's no expense here whatsoever. Now, I don't love it because I think there's a danger in Disney licensing out their products to the Middle East without having really any kind of checks and balance system, because we both know that in geopolitical conflict, if something goes south, who cares about the mouse? These countries like China and the UAE are going to do what they want to do. So I think that's kind of dangerous to Disney. But in the short term for Wall Street, they love this thing. Mike, do you see it the same way?
Yes, and I will. Here's one of the quotes from Bob Iger that Wall Street loves and latches onto, and I quote. By the way, right now I'm going to be Mexican Iron Iger. Thank you. Pro. It will serve as an oasis of extraordinary Disney entertainment for millions and millions of people in the crossroads of the world, connecting travelers from the Middle East, Africa, India, Asia, Europe, and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you, Mexican Iron Bob. Thank you.
Yep. I mean, you're right. I mean, they said on the earnings call, and I quote again, Disney will not be investing capital in the project, will license the intellectual property to Miral, which is the corporation, in exchange for royalties. So, first of all, don't beat yourself about not seeing this coming. No one on Wall Street saw this coming. No one on the planet saw this coming. I think this is, and the other thing too is that you're right. Wall Street's going to love it because it's like all revenue, all cash, all upside, no cost, no, all of that type of stuff.
Right.
So the other thing too about Bob is that he's also a master in making big promises, and if they don't work out, he always has an out, and this is his out. So, for example, if this company can't get the project together, can't say, well, we try to make a deal, we try to work with the local partner, and it just didn't work. And so, but that's what Bob does. He's a cheese ball. That's what cheese balls do. That's what con men do. I frankly believe, as an individual stockholder who's watched this company obsessively, and my family has been stockholders of Disney for how many decades now? 3 decades, 4 decades, 4, something like that. Bob Iger is not only a cheese ball, but as a CEO, he's fraudulent and he's a liar, and he doesn't have the best interests of the vision of Walt Disney as he leads this company, and it's sad. It's sad. There's nothing about this company. To me, this company is living on a house of cards, and Wall Street may love that house of cards, but this cannot endure forever. And for the simple reason that people that have all these Disney shows that love Disney so much, within the next 5 to 20 years, an increasing number will die. And if that population is not replaced, literally replaced,
right,
then the flywheel will fall off of the pole. It will tumble, and it will break apart like an old windmill out in the desert.
Well, you know, that's the problem with Star Wars, right? Is that they haven't transferred the joy of the franchise, and it's starting to happen with Marvel, right? The reason they can't pull people into Marvel is because kids don't, you know, it's been 6 years since Endgame. So a lot of these kids say, oh, Marvel, that's what my parents used to watch. Right. Mike, I want to take one last look before we go at the Disney stock, and I just want to say, you know, I'm neither too high nor too low on Disney. Yes, they had a nightmare quarter. Yes, they managed to find the escape hatch for that and survive another quarter using this a theme park announcement that isn't their own theme park. And by the way, Disney of the past would have never done this, because this, to me, is a position of weakness. They're licensing out their characters to somebody else. Disney 20 years ago would have never, ever, ever done that. The OLC situation with Japan, for folks who are big-time Disney Parks fans and know what I'm referring to, that's much more integrated than what we're going to see here. But Mike, what I'm looking at is the Disney stock price, and I'm putting this at the 5-year because I like to look at things with full perspective. I don't like to get too high on the month. I don't like to get too low on the 24-hour. On the 5-year, Mike, we're at 105, and that's sort of right in the middle of where Disney has been post-pandemic. They've been hovering, 90 to 110, whatever. Mike, what number do they need to get to for this to actually be a major win for Bob Iger and maybe raise the baseline? And again, no financial advice, folks, but Mike, where do we call this a victory for Bob Iger, even if we are hesitant and reticent to do so?
Well, my bar, there's a couple bars. One bar is that the last guy got fired when it was at 109, and Bob has struggled to keep it anywhere near 109. It's gone up and down, but 109 is the, hey, I fired the last guy got fired for being down as low as 109. So to me, it's in the 120s, 130s. My personal preference would be 147 because that's the average basis for all of my shares. So that's
I was going to say, full disclosure, Mike is in at 147. He really needs another fake theme park announcement. So Disney,
no, I need three. I need three more. I need three more.
Right.
I need
Disney,
the first one got me from 90 to 105. I need another one to get me to 125, and then maybe a really good third one to get me in the 140s. And that day it happens, I'm out. No, but I think the thing is we have to go back to the original. If I were to judge Bob by his own words and deeds, okay, he went. Let's go back in time before Chapek, and he launched Disney Plus. And why did we do that at the Disney company? Because we wanted to be like Netflix. They saw the $400, the Netflix $400 stock, That's what they wanted, and they got as high as at one point the 200s, right? And so that was the vision and the dream. However, that vision and dream has turned into a nightmare because they've spent billions of dollars, and they've the Marvel shows, the Star Wars shows, and everything else that's on Disney Plus has pretty much just been a barrel of bones that people aren't interested in. So for my view is that if Bob wants to go out as a winner, then Bob needs to live up to the vision that he promised that of what this company was going to do. And in my case, I subscribe to that vision because when Disney Plus was announced back in 19 or something like that, in my mind, Disney Plus was going to be something where my mom grandma, me, my kid, Max. Like all three of us would be watching the entire Disney catalog and eventually the stuff that would be new released. And it would be something good for the whole family where the legacy could live on and be passed on generation for generation. Literally a digital library depository of the greatness that has been the Walt Disney Company over decades. And instead, we've gotten crap. So my bar for Bob to go out as a winner is 200. I'd like to see him get to 200. That to me will tell me that he's no longer the cheese ball executive officer, but he's an actual chief executive officer.
That's right, folks. The takeaway here today is Warner Brothers and Paramount outperforming Disney in terms of their pickups of subscribers and how they're performing in streaming. Disney becoming more and more demeaning when it comes to their ability to hold on to subs. And yet investors don't care because Bob Iger jangled and jingled a very exciting, shining mirage out in Dubai. He is the mousy messiah, but he is also Bob, the master of mirages, and that has won the day. Investors don't care when it comes to Paramount and Warner Brothers. They want a theme park from Disney. Mike, thank you for being here. Folks, get over. Mike is a struggling yet excelling YouTuber on his way to 100K.
No!
Mike, you got 3K, man. You're almost there. You can do it. Folks, get over there and subscribe to Mexican Iron Man, and we're going to fire him via Trebuchet straight in the studios of Burbank so he can get behind the scenes at Disney, but we need your subscriptions over there first. On this video, like, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below, and folks, get out there and celebrate the weekend. If it's sunny where you are, go outside, and if not, find some friends inside. We'll see you real soon. In the meantime, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
Hey, Floral, guess what?
You put a fork in Pro's microwave again.
No, that was yesterday.
I don't know that what.
Oh, I've decided to give up on torturing Jonas.
What? Why? In the same way the cat sleeps like 20 hours a day, that was like your purpose.
I know, but I've decided there's bigger fish to fry.
Okay.
Like Lorne. I mean, think about it. Everybody loves him. He's a fan favorite, and frankly, he has almost no weaknesses I can find. Except that he's really smart.
So, you want to annoy the one panelist without a single flaw, because he's smart.
Yeah, like that winged statue at that fancy Paris museum thingy. I want to break the one thing that everyone loves most.
Right. So, kind of like the opposite of Rachel Zegler.
Yeah, exactly. And I get to see her all the time at family reunions anyway.
You get to see Rachel Zegler?
Yeah. She's a total troll. Lives under a bridge, harasses billy goats, the whole 9 yards.
It all makes sense now.
Speaking of which, maybe she'll get me... Okay, I'm gonna call her on my... I'm gonna call her and see if she'll be in the next Indiana Jones. She should be the next Indiana Jones. That'll totally destroy Lord. He loves Indiana Jones.
Oh, that's cruel.
Hey, Rach. I've got a cool idea for you that involves a whip and snakes.
I love that description. It's perfect.
I know, right? Weird, as we always say.